Hello, Vanessa Webb, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Australia here. Today I am playing with the Hello Beautiful bundle, which comes with the beautiful shapes dies, and it is still available as a 10% off bundle during our last chance list sale. After that, you'll be able to get both the items, but they won't be 10% off as a bundle. So now's your opportunity to get the coordinating dies with the stamps and save a little bit when you place your order. There are a number of things that are retiring from this suite as well, including the gorgeous Abstract Beauty ephemera pack and the cards and envelopes, as well as the Abstract Beauty 4x6, which I'll also be playing with. It just coordinates really beautifully with the stamps and the dies. So to start off with, what you will need is I'm using Night of Navy card base. The paper actually does have a blue in it, which is the retired Misty Moonlight. So Night of Navy is your closest match if you don't have any Misty Moonlight cardstock, but that's not available in the online store anymore. So I'm switching to Night of Navy. And I've got two pieces of basic white cardstock, 9.5 by 14, so they're the same size. And I've got several sheets of the Abstract Beauty 4x6 that I mentioned before. So I've just picked a couple of patterns that I really like. And what you'll need to do is you'll need 3 strips of this, but they each need to be torn on each edge. So I'm just going to tear this straight edge off, and then I'm going to tear it into about thirds. And honestly, it doesn't have to be neat. In fact, the more random the better the tears are. So I'm going to go with this one as well. So I'll just tear that edge off, and then I'll tear this part, about a third of it off. You want 3 similar sized pieces to create your card. So if you think about it, you could actually make 3 cards out of 3 sheets of this designer series paper, specialty paper. So you'll get 3 different pieces out of each. All right, so then what you're going to do is grab one of your pieces of basic white, and you're going to stick the torn pieces of designer series paper just with a smidge of glue, and I'm going to create a sort of an angle here. So I'm going to start off with the paper going at an angle. You want all of your your basic white piece to be covered at all the corners there, but you can just leave a little bit of a gap at the top and bottom. So you're going to overlap these a little bit, but you're going to put them at an angle on the cardstock, if that makes sense. So this one's going to go in the middle, so you'll still see either side the other 2 patterns. You're just going to apply it randomly so that you've got that middle section covered, and then there's a gap top and bottom. I'm going to pop that over there to dry for a little while I get on with the other parts of my card. I have the gorgeous, what are they? The dies. What are they called? Beautiful dies, Abstract Beauty dies, Beautiful Shapes dies, that's what they are. And they actually cut your cardstock as well as put a little bit of a pattern on. So I've got some basic white card for my circle, and I've got some more of that Abstract Beauty paper in the gold polka dots for my oval. I'm using another set of dies for my greeting, and I'm just going to select a couple of words from there. I'm not going to use the whole thing. So let me run that through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And remember, my glued pieces are still drying, and I want them to be fairly dry before I run them through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, because we're going to emboss those. So I'll just run these through first. And these are just going to be the other elements on my card. They're going to have that lovely embossing as well as being cut around that shape. So there's my oval. Love that. It's going to look really cool. And there is my circle. Alrighty, and now I'll get the the die, which comes from the other set of dies that I'm using, and that is, let me just look that up for you. It is the Floral Gallery set of dies, and they're standalone dies. So you'll find them in the back of our current annual catalogue, and you can use them by themselves, but you can also use them with the Floral Gallery, the Art Gallery, stamp set. I'm featuring another embossing folder from the previous Art Gallery suite, which was available, I think, in one of our mini catalogues that came out. So I just want the word just, that was handy, and the word say. I don't want the word want at the moment. I can use that on something else. But I also want the word to. Should be using my take your pick tool for that. But there's my word to. And when you're using this, don't forget there is a little bit that goes at the top of the J, which turns it into a lowercase j. So don't lose that bit. I'm going to put that to the side. Now that my my gluing is dry, I'm going to put that inside this embossing folder, which is from that Art Gallery suite, as I said. I'm just going to look up the name of it because I always forget. It looks a little bit like gesso when you're using it, and it gives a really, really nice texture. It is called the Painted Texture 3D. I just need to remember that word painted, and I'll remember that it's texture. All right, so it gives you a lovely rough around the edges look, and it's going to go perfectly with that torn paper, just stuck randomly to that piece of basic white. I'm using the 3D embossing folder adapter. I'm just going to run that through, and then you guys will see the magic that happens with the embossing folder. Love it. How gorgeous is that? It really adds an extra layer of texture to this. This is such a gorgeous folder. So yeah, that's the Painted Texture 3D. And just to tidy it up a little bit, I'm going to grab my scissors and I'm just going to snip. You could use your paper trimmer for this, but I find it just as easy to use the edge of the card as my guide and just scoot along like that. Even the texture on that side looks fantastic, doesn't it? Love it. Okay, so there is my piece all ready to go. And I'm going to layer up all the bits and pieces here. Everything is pretty much flat on this card, so what I would use is just my Tombow glue, and I'm going to apply the circle first, and that's just going to go there. Nothing is too straight on this card, so you'll find it really super easy to line things up or not line things up as the case may be. So I'm just going to pop that one there. And I love how everything's matchy-matchy. So you've got that lovely gold foil that's picking up all the gold highlights in the rest of the paper. Now here's my word just. I'm just going to get all the little bits out, and I'm just going to put a smidge of glue on the back. You don't need too much. So that's going to go right there. And my little, the top of the J, the dot, will go just up there. And then my 2, so we're actually saying, in case you hadn't realised, instead of just want to say, we're just going to say just to say, and it's going to be a thank you card because I'm going to put the word thank you on the inside. So the 2 actually straddles these 2 shapes, and then my say is going to go right down the bottom. So just having a smidge of glue here. And just evenly space those. So that's looking pretty good. Now I also want to pop some of these. These are our adhesive-backed hexagons, and they come in the Just Jade, the Blushing Bride, and the black. So I did want to apply two just up here. I wanted to apply the Just Jade and the Blushing Bride. I might grab a bigger one, actually. But what I did want to show you is how you can colour in or how you can change the colour of your embellishments because we're not actually using black on this card. So I wanted to change the colour of the black embellishment and before I popped it onto my project. So let me just show you. I'm going to bring in my silicone mat, which is very handy for this, and I'm just going to peel off one of the larger black hexagons, and I'm just going to adhere it with its little glue dot there. And I will grab my Versamark and I'm going to pat. This is great because anything that you put on this will just rub right off. It's silicone, so it's not going to stick permanently. Even heated up embossing powder comes off super easily. I've just popped a little bit of Versamark on there, and then I'm going to tip a little tiny bit of gold embossing powder onto there as well. And hopefully that sticky dot will hold it. And then what you do is you heat set that, and I'll show you my finished card. You'll actually have a heat set gold hexagon to match your project. So no black in sight on that cover. How gorgeous is that? What I did was too, I went ahead and I decorated the inside of this card. So just a little bit of gold embossing using some of the random stamps in this stamp set. You can basically make up your own patterns with it. I've used some of the larger splodges and stamped them off just to create a bit of a background in the middle of the card. And my thank you stamp is from the Hello Beautiful set as well. So on the front it says just to say, and you really don't know what's going to be on the inside of the card until you open it. There's also a little tiny bit of the basics white twine just to finish that off. I hope that this has given you some ideas about how you can make